No, that's fine. We'll check.
She only did one. I don't know why.
So it's not, we'll chat tomorrow or Thursday. It's not a big deal. There's some really weird language in the Housing Authority Commission. Well, because the Housing Authority is a division runs. I always thought in cities where I work, it's Housing Authority Council plus usually 2 or 1.
It is.
But
This is the housing.
well, the code says Housing Authority Commission. So it's really bizarre.
There is a commission, which is council.
Well, I understand, but then they should be housing authority, right? We can talk about it. It's not a big deal. Now, it doesn't not going to change
It's probably been that way forever.
I know, but it doesn't really. It's hard for me to wrap my head around that because I'm used to housing authority being a county.
All right, good evening, everyone. As the chair of the Housing Authority, I am opening up this portion of our meeting. Can we get a roll call, please? So I'm going to go with Vice Chair. No, can't do that. So agency members Perez. Here. Valencia. Here. Hernandez. Here. And Chair. Here. Okay, I'll now pass it on to our clerk to conduct the selection of the next chair and vice chair. Cynthia?
Thank you. Yes, as we did with the city council, it is time to reorganize the housing authority. So I would like to open nominations for individual on the housing authority to serve as the chair for the next year.
I'd like to nominate Mayor Tony Ayala.
I'll second.
And we can do it the same way as council if you'd like. We can have a first and a second can be the same person if you'd like.
I think that would be good. Match Mayor City Council, please.
So I will go ahead and take a nomination for vice chair at the same time.
I nominate Jennifer Perez.
Second.
Do you say? Oh.
Yes.
That's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, no, she's doing it
We're
in
fine.
one motion. So
We're fine.
Yeah, I know what we did.
That's okay. So I'll just do all in favor.
Aye.
We're doing this for both positions.
Very
All right.
good.
Very good. So our new chair is Tony Ayala, but in his absence this evening will be our vice chair, Jennifer Perez.
Thank you. Moving on with our consent calendar portion of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Can we get a roll call, please?
Okay. So we have agency members Rios,
Aye.
Valencia,
Aye.
Hernandez,
I abstain. Item 68708.
68708.
68708.
Thank you. And Chair Perez.
Aye. Do we have a community development director's report tonight?
No reports.
Any oral communications for the housing authority? Nope. All right. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting and just give us a few moments while we reposition our chairs. All right, good evening, everyone. For the regular council meeting of the Norwalk City Council on December 17th. Tonight, I am going to read our introduction for both of our guests that we have with us tonight at the same time, and then we'll join together for one big group picture. So for our invocation tonight, we have Pastor Danny Casas from Remnant Church. Pastor Casas has now served the city of Norwalk community for over 7 years at Remnant Church in the city of Norwalk and has been a pastor for more than 17 years. Pastor Casas finds joy in bringing people closer to their faith. He and his church enjoy serving others and giving back. In fact, last month, they were involved in giving out turkeys at the Norwalk Community Thanksgiving. We also have with us tonight our young student that is from Studebaker Elementary School, Christina Aguirre. Christina is here to lead us in the flag salute, and she's 8 years old and is a third grader from Studebaker Elementary. She enjoys playing soccer and currently plays for Club FC Premier. In her spare time, she loves to read Harry Potter books and watch movies with her friends and family. Pastor, please come to the podium. If we can invite everybody to please stand, we will do our invocation and flag salute.
Thank you so much. Most Holy Father, we thank you for this evening, and we pray for your leading over Mayor Ayala and the council members represented here. We pray for your blessing over the law enforcement, first responders, teachers, and clergy. We also pray for your divine favor and protection over the businesses, over the schools, and over the churches of the city of Norwalk. We pray for your blessing over the young and old, even the unsheltered, Lord, that you would provide for them and continue to sustain them. And we pray tonight, Lord, for your divine protection, that you'd bless the city of Norwalk with your favor, blessing, and strength. And all this we ask in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Teresa, can we have a roll call, please?
Council members Rios
Here.
and Valencia
Here.
and Vice Mayor Perez.
Here. Moving on to our closed session report.
Thank you very much, Madam Vice Mayor and members of the City Council. The record should reflect that the City Council convened into closed session for the three items that were listed on the agenda. The record should further reflect that those items were announced for inclusion in closed session prior to recessing. And finally, that all of the four members that were present in closed session were all members with the exception of Mayor Ayala. And the following is my report. With respect to item number one, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation in the state of California versus city of Norwalk. That matter was, a briefing was provided to the city council. There was no final action taken by the city council, and there is nothing required to be reported at this time. Moving on to conference with real property negotiator. This is the property that's listed on the agenda, commonly known as the California Youth Authority site. There was no final action taken on that matter. That also appears on your open agenda for consideration and action this evening, but there's nothing to report on that item at this point. Lastly, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation. One matter of potential threat of litigation related to 11642 Firestone Boulevard in the city of Norwalk. A briefing was provided to the city council, direction was provided to the city attorney's office, but no final action was taken, which is required to be reported at this time. Madam Vice Mayor, that concludes my report from closed session. It is appropriate to continue with the open portion of the meeting.
Thank you, Arnold. All right, bringing it back to council. Want to welcome you all to our meeting tonight. Thank you for coming out. I know we're getting closer to the holidays and your time is precious, so we appreciate the fact that you wanted to spend tonight with us. We will go ahead and get started with our council comments, and I'll go ahead and start this evening with Councilmember Margarita Rios.
Hello, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our meeting this evening. I do want to wish everyone a special holiday season as we finalize year 2024. Wish you all the very, very best in 2025. May you be healthy, may you be well, may you be close to family and friends, may you have love and peace, kindness. And I also want to just ask all of you to keep in your thoughts, our first responders as they work tirelessly to keep those in our community safe, but especially those in our schools, our students, our youth, the members that work at these facilities. Please hold them in your special thoughts for them and the job that they do on a daily basis to keep them and all of us safe. Also, I want to remind you that on January 4th, our first big event of the year, Las Posadas, beginning at 6 o'clock here at City Hall lawn. I know Park and Rec has something, they're planning something absolutely amazing that the community is going to love and enjoy. And for me, it's just always been such an amazing time and a way to begin the new year with a big event in the city that is all about community. It's free to the community, and so we get a really good turnout, and it's just a great way to welcome the new year. So please put that on your calendars, and we'll see you there. And remember to be safe and shop safe wherever you are. Leave your home safely, return safely, and stay healthy and well. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Moving next to Councilmember Valencia.
Thank you. I want to also welcome everyone, and so great to see everybody here and many of our friends. I don't know if I see any commissioners, but if there are, welcome. And I know that Dr. Robert Cancio of Norwalk La Mirada is here. Welcome. And Jose Rios, President of the Norwalk La Mirada School Board, and of course our Executive Director of our chamber. Thank you for being here with us. And is it any other? Okay, I feel like the old show where they have the little magnifying glass. I see so and so. I see so and so. The teacher and me. But I do want to report on a couple of things. The city employee recognition event was beautiful, and congratulations to all of those employees reaching those milestones, whether it be 5, 10, 15, 20, 40 years with the city. Congratulations. It was a beautiful event, and it was all about them. So I was very happy to be part of it. And then on Saturday, December 14th, Project Angel Tree was just a beautiful event as always. And Gabriela Regalado's team, social services, Parks and Rec, everybody, and the volunteers. It was such a beautiful event. And always, it's always the best to see children get their gifts and their eyes light up, and we just make their day. And some of them, those are the gifts that they're going to be receiving for Christmas, because times are hard for some folks. But they were just more than appreciative. And a big shout out to Northgate Market for a gift certificate, a gift card that they provided each and every family that came to Project Angel Tree. So we've got to send them a big thank you, because and that's what it's about. It's the community building, the partnerships that we have, and just people giving. It's wonderful. And then I too want to wish everyone very happy holidays, and please enjoy, be safe, keep your wallets and purses right next to you. Don't get dissuaded by other people. Oh, help me with this. Take your wallets with you. Take your purses with you. At any rate, but yes, happy holidays, and then happy New Year, and hope to see you at Las Posadas on Saturday, January 4th. Thank you.
Thank you. I wanted just to echo some of the comments from Angel Tree this past Saturday. And what I will add, not only to our amazing team and the volunteers that were there from our commissions to help organize and run the event. But I want to give a huge shout out to all of the sponsors and all those that donated those gifts from anywhere in our city. That event doesn't happen without those sponsors. And I know Danny, you and Gabby will highlight them and celebrate them at our recognition event in the first quarter. So thank you for that. It's definitely one of those moments where if you've never attended Angel Tree here in the city of Norwalk, it's one of awe. And it really is a perfect example of what community is all about and specific to the city of Norwalk. I want to give a huge shout out to all of our businesses here in the city. Our chamber does a great job advertising all of the happenings in the various businesses here in our city. Continue to shop small as you're finishing your last minute Christmas shopping. What I would also like to share is all of our residents have taken time to decorate their homes, to put the lights out, to have inflatables in their front yard. That's another sign of community. So as you're driving around our city, take time to appreciate the decorations. If you're walking through your neighborhood, thank your neighbor for taking the time to make the city of Norwalk festive. And just remember that together we can really, truly celebrate this holiday season and enjoy it all together, no matter what holiday you're celebrating. So those are my comments for tonight. Moving on to our city manager comments. Jesus.
Yes, thank you, Vice Mayor Perez and members of City Council. The first is the tree lighting that we had, a great event that we had the first Saturday. And with that came the Santa's Day, which continues through this month. So I just want to make sure that everyone knows that we still have the Santa's Day that is making its stops. We also had the Angel Tree, and I would just want to comment on, again, the sponsors that have provided for families in our community. And we have two board members here from the school district, and these are students in your school district, our school district. So we're very happy to serve them in this capacity. And there's nothing but smiles, not only the students, the kids, but the parents, because they see their kids receiving the gifts. So it's a joy to sit behind the table and be able to provide them with the gifts that the sponsors have provided for them. So I want to thank again the sponsors that have always been very generous to be able to provide a better, happier Christmas for some of our residents and our students. And then the other is shopping. We do have higher alert with our public safety officers at the retail centers that we have in town. The one thing that I will suggest is that you be careful when you're out shopping, and just as Councilmember Valencia said, keep your belongings close to you. Don't leave them out in your vehicles for someone to be able to see them or track them to your vehicle. And so, use your trunk to put everything in so they're not visible, and that'll be a safer shopping experience for yourself. So just wanted to mention those few things. The other item that I wanted to bring to the council's for consideration is I had a meeting with the leadership of the Lions Club President Norma Mesqua, and they requested that the city be a partner in the food distribution in January. And I'd just like to recommend that we become partners with the Lions Club. Again, we are serving our community in a way that sometimes we don't know their situation, and this could be a difference, a major difference for their families. I believe so. And the site so far selected would be the County Registrar Recorder's Office. to have minimal impact on traffic on our streets. So with your permission, I will let the Lions Club know that we would be partners.
I just have a quick question, Jesus. Is there any cost associated that the city would incur?
It would be mainly public safety to be able to help with traffic. That would be the only because the remainder is all donations, and they're all volunteers that serve the boxes.
So what amount is that, and how are we paying for that?
We would probably do reassign some public safety officers that are already working, because it would be kind of a short period of time to be able to have them directed onto the site. The benefit of having the county registrar recorder's office site is that the queuing, we can queue a lot of vehicles on site. So that's the benefit of having that site be the distribution of the food.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great endeavor. I'm just wondering what the cost, if there's a cost associated to the city, what that would be. Do we have a dollar amount?
I don't have a dollar amount, but it would be minimal. It would be minimal.
Don't we need to figure out what that is before we
I will.
approve it?
I will approve it. The reason I say that's going to be minimal is because we already have public safety officers at that time, so they're going to be assigned to that for those hours.
Is it on a weekend?
It's on a Saturday,
Saturday.
January 25th, if I can chime in. The people who put it together, with the union, it's the LA County Federation of Labor, their special services department, and they have lots of staff as well. Other unions come forward and do all kinds of directing of traffic. So our part is very minimal. Ms. Councilmember Rios, very minimal. So it's very well organized. The Lions clubs are there, other organizations, and but they themselves, the LA County Fed, are just, it goes so smooth. And as our city manager said, it's pretty minimal what they do, but they do kind of guide and direct. So, but it would be good information to have. Thank you.
Sure, and I can get that cost for you. It wouldn't add. We would need a budget request. It would be within the existing budget.
Okay.
And then the next, we have a biweekly review video for the community to view and see what events we've had in the recent past.
On December 3rd, the Norwalk La Mirada School District held a grand opening ceremony for the newly constructed athletic facility at Norwalk High School. Council member Margarita Rios, Norwalk La Mirada School Board members, educators, and students of past and present attended the ribbon-cutting ceremony, commemorating this beautiful new addition to the school. Go Lancers! The Norwalk Senior Center hosted several events and activities during the holidays. On December 5th, the center held a holiday edition of Keeping It Crafty. The participants used their craft-making skills and built snowmen out of fish bowls. Families gathered round, a sparkling Christmas tree, children laughing, and a ho-ho-ho from a jolly St. Nick, it must be the holidays. The city held the annual Holidays Festival and Tree Lighting Ceremony on December 7th. It was a delightful event that brought joy and Christmas cheer to the community. On December 14th, the city held the Angel Tree Party to bring love and joy to the children throughout the Christmas season. During the celebration, children received gifts of clothing and toys and met with Santa Claus and his helpers. Happy holidays, Norwalk!
Vice Mayor Perez and members of the City Council, that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Margarita, for asking that question. I had similar questions and asked that question when I noticed it was on the agenda. So I appreciate that. January 25th.
Saturday, January 25th.
Our next meeting is on the 21st, January 21st.
Yeah. We'll get that information now.
All right, moving on to our consent calendar. We do have 9 items on the agenda for the consent calendar. Item number 7 was removed, and I do have a speaker. Brian Tyndall would like to speak on item number 6. Brian?
Good evening, staff and council. Item number 6 is the Urban Tree Forest Management Plan, done by West Coast Arborists, funding for that, which is great. I'm really excited to see that that's working in progress. I'm curious what the current West Coast Arborist contract states, because what I read in the consent calendar item was that they're going to be updating our inventory, and I know that we already have an inventory. So are they doing? I know that they're adding a computer aspect to it, but I don't want to be paying twice for something that we're already contracting them to do. So I was just kind of curious what their existing contract says, and I'm excited to see this. I would like to see more native trees. I've talked about it at length. But that's kind of where this plan, I would like to see it going, is to do more native trees. They're better for our native pollinators, less maintenance, less water. You've heard all this before, so thank you for your time.
Thank you, Brian. Jesus, can you confirm that what the item is being approved on is not a duplicate of what we already have in the contract?
That is correct. So they take West Coast Harbor, yes, Vice Mayor Perez, the West Coast Harbors has a database because they trim all of our trees. So this is, they will augment the data by adding where trees should be, but are not, those that need replacement. And so that would be the additional inventory, but they have existing trees that are trimmed every 3 years. So they have that inventory, but they're going to add where they're missing trees.
Great. Thank you for that clarification. Margarita?
If I may just add to that, but I know I did read the report, and I just want to make sure, Jesus, that the majority of that, their work is really coming up with that plan on as we move forward into the future, and we look at what trees are best, what areas, how we plan for them as we look at our new developments. I know the current survey, is important, but I think as we plan for the future and looking at what's, our tree canopy, what is that going to look like for us in the future?
Yes, they will. They will have recommendations as to the type of trees and then the selection of trees in different areas of the city as well.
Thank you. Jesus, and that will come back once the overall plan is presented to be presented to council.
Yes,
correct?
So it's due to be completed by June of 2025. So we will bring that plan for presentation to the city council.
Wonderful, thank you. I'll make a motion to move the 9 items on the consent calendar.
Second.
Can we have,
Second.
Go ahead.
Second.
Margarita. Go ahead.
can we have a roll call, please?
Council members Rios and
Aye.
Valencia,
Aye.
and Vice Mayor Perez.
Aye. Thank you. Moving on to appointments. Any appointments this evening?
My understanding is that we should, well, from what it says here, to make appointments to fill the vacancies. Oh, okay, to fill the vacancies, and those 2 years expiring December 31st. Okay, so I will start with that if you don't mind.
Hold on. Teresa?
So these appointments would only be through December 31st. And then in January, we'll come back and we'll appoint because the term expires in December 31st.
Then I will wait for January.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
And David
you.
and Commissioner, welcome.
And I'm just going to ask to our communications team if we can get out any information on our commissions, anything that we have open spots on. Let's do a marketing blast so that way when we come back in January, should there be any vacancies for any of us, our community is aware of which ones they are. Thank you. All right, moving on to item number 12. Resolution number 24-62, declaring real property exempt surplus land pursuant to Government Code Sections 54221 and 37364, and approving a disposition and development agreement for the disposition and development of real property located at 13200 Bloomfield Avenue. Jesus, can we have the staff report?
Yes, Vice Mayor Perez, members of City Council, tonight you'll be hearing the presentation related to the California Youth Authority property. This is sort of the progression for that development. As you may remember, in 2019, we entered into an ENA with Lewis Group, and we are now at the point where this is development agreement for that property. So with that, Mr. Alex Hamilton.
Thank you, Vice Mayor and City Council. On December 3rd of this year, the City Council adopted Resolution number 2461, approving a purchase and sale agreement between the city and the state of California for the subject property located at 13200 Bloomfield Avenue, commonly known as the CYA site. Concurrent with this purchase and sale agreement, a disposition and development agreement, what we call a DDA, is now proposed between the city and Lewis Land Developers. As the city manager touched on, the city has been partners with Lewis since at least 2019. And this is the culmination of years of effort and cooperation and council feedback and input. This is the site, as many of you are familiar with. A quick outline of the disposition and development agreement. The key terms: the purchase price of the property is $20,300,000. This is consistent with what we paid for the California Youth Authority site to the state. So there'll be dual escrows, one between the state and the city, and the other will be between the city and Lewis. So that in essence, what we pay out, Lewis pays us back for through escrow. There is a holdback amount. We call it the city reimbursement, where the developer will, subject to approval through escrow, will reimburse city project costs for demolition and abatement costs that are estimated currently at $4.7 million. The escrow is technically open, but the effective date will be initiated when the executed DDA and escrow instructions are received. There will be a closing of escrow 30 days after the completion of the demolition and remediation activities, which are anticipated to take at minimum several weeks, if not months. There is a developer deposit of $200,000 that is on file. In addition, some of the other key terms of the disposition and development agreement, it sets forth that the infrastructure improvements for the projects will be completed by the developer at their cost 18 months after the close of escrow. There are also affordable housing covenants, which were part of the deal terms with the state. And it's an assurance of an obligation for development of the requisite affordable housing. And there are agreements that go with that run with the land to ensure that over time that those covenants are maintained and there's clear direction to the housing builder of the affordable housing units. There will be a subsequent statutory development agreement that will be coming to the Planning Commission and City Council. In essence, this vests the project entitlements, which were part of the specific plan that the City Council adopted. So this is a way to make sure that the specific plan entitlements and our development obligations with our partner Lewis sync up and match up. One other key point here is normally this is technically surplus land, and it's land owned in fee simple by the local agency for which the local agency's governing body takes formal action in a regular public meeting, such as tonight, declaring that the land is surplus and not necessary for the agency's use. This is Government Code Section 54221. So part of that also is 54221 subset F1A. Exempt surplus land includes city-owned surplus land that is transferred pursuant to Government Code Section 37364. This exemption applies when the owner obligates the property to construct affordable housing. And in this case, the obligation is that the site will have at least 40% of the total number of all residential units will be constructed as affordable housing. Also, a part of the legislation which initiated this also found that the sale of the property under this disposition development agreement would constitute the sale of excess surplus land under the Surplus Land Act. As it relates to the CEQA exemptions for this, there are a few. as it relates to this transaction. The first one is CEQA Guidelines, Section 15312, Class 12, which is surplus government property sales, and Section 15061B3, Common Sense Exemption. The CEQA Guidelines, Section 15300.2 is also applicable. And then, as you're aware, the City Council on November 19th, 2024 took action to certify the final environmental impact report for this project, of which this action, the disposition of the property and the subsequent purchase and sale agreement and disposition development agreement were contemplated under that EIR and covered by that EIR, in addition to the couple of exemptions that I mentioned to you as well. So the recommendation on this is that you adopt Resolution 2462, which is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Norwalk declaring real property exempt surplus land pursuant to Government Code Sections 54221F1 and 37364, and approving a disposition and development agreement by and between the City of Norwalk and Lewis Land Developers, LLC, for the disposition and development of the real property located at 13,200 Bloomfield Avenue. In addition, we're recommending that you find that the declaration of the exempt surplus land and the DDA is exempt from CEQA guidelines pursuant to Section 15312, Class 12, surplus government property sales, and CEQA guidelines Section 15061B3, and also consistent with the certified final environmental impact report for the project, along with the mitigation monitoring and reporting program and statement of overriding considerations in connection with your previous resolution approving this specific plan, which was 2458. Lastly, sorry, there's quite a few actions that we're asking you to take tonight. So lastly, we're asking that you declare the property exempt surplus land as mentioned pursuant to Government Code Section 54221 F1 and 37364. And in a nutshell, authorize the city manager to execute the DDA and any ancillary documents, including but not limited to escrow instructions, deeds, covenants, seller affidavits, and customary documents consistent with all necessary, reasonably necessary to effectuate the intent of this resolution, or to make such necessary amendments to the DDA and associated exhibits consistent with the intent of the resolution in a form approved by the city attorney. This concludes my presentation and recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Before we go to council, we do have 2 speaker cards. You do have 3 minutes to speak. Our first speaker is Araceli King. Araceli, please come forward.
Araceli. Thank you. Sorry. My name is Araceli King, and I'm with the Higher Wages, Lower Rents Alliance. I oppose this project and the item before you tonight as a mother. As a mother, you know, I care about the climate crisis, especially in how our cities plan for it. I believe that the Norwalk Transit Village project should set a high standard for environmental sustainability. This Transit Village project instead will add 7,000 more trips to our roads. We should do more to reduce the traffic impact. Given that the DDA is in furtherance of the project, we urge the council to vote no on this item and not allow this project to go forward until these issues are addressed and the city meaningfully engages with the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Christina Sanchez. Christina, you may have come to the podium. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Christina Sanchez, and I lived in Norwalk for 25 plus years. I am a proud member of Unite Here Local 11. I continue to stand in opposition to the way the Norwalk Transit Village project has moved forward. I do not support this disposition and the development agreement before the council tonight. As I stated before, this project misses the mark in several ways. There's a housing crisis and we need to do everything possible to address it responsibly. The city let 32 acres of public land to be empty for so long, and now it will dispose of the property to a private developer. When this was being used as a youth correctional facility, it had 441 beds. Why aren't we making use of this facility right instead of letting it remain empty while we wait for redevelopment? Again, we think that in lieu of demolition, all of it, we should find ways to reuse some of the current buildings and the building around it. Second, I am strongly opposed to having a hotel here. I lived in Norwalk for many years and my children have gone through our public school. A hotel is one of the last things I'd like to see develop here in public land. Public land is rare and we must maximize affordable housing rather than using the space for a hotel. We urge the city council to remove the hotel and use the space for a similar size apartment building. Hotel generates more traffic than housing, so removing the hotel will decrease the overall traffic impact for the project. Please vote no on this item. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Teresa, did we have any other speakers, any submissions online?
No, we don't, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, bringing it back to Councilor for any questions? Anna?
I'll move it.
I'll second. Can we have a roll call, please?
Council members Rios,
Aye.
Valencia,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Perez.
Aye. Thank you. Moving on to item number 13. This is the 605 All-Star Band Parade Rehearsal request for closure for city streets. Jesus, can we have the report?
Yes, Vice Mayor Perez, members of the City Council. As you remember, we had this item at the last meeting, and the council requested to bring it back for reconsideration with additional information, and tonight we have that for you. And with that, we had Mr. Richard Dutton, who will present.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, members of the City Council. Good evening. Again, just to recap what our event objectives are, we want to ensure the safety of our participants for this event, minimize our disruptions to the community, and reestablish normal order as quickly as possible while providing a venue for the 605 All-Star Band to practice. We've re-examined the route based off of new requirements from the band. And when we originally brought this to you, they were marching 11 across. That's increased to 13. This is also a smaller footprint and impact on the community. They'll be starting at Hollifield Park. They'll march down Excelsior Boulevard, make that turn onto Norwalk, and then flip a U-turn. So this route in total, it's about 3/4 of a mile, but they can run it as many times as they need to during the course of that. And it does give them that opportunity to practice that turn, which is really important for the Rose Parade. This event does have 13 road closures that you'll see here in yellow. The day of, those are each man with a PSO or some sort of law enforcement officer and a vehicle to ensure no one is involved. We have parking areas in purple available on Bloomfield and on the access road off of Excelsior. We will have to enforce a no parking zone on Norwalk Boulevard that's in red the day prior to ensure that the band has the width that they need to practice. As we communicate this strategy to the community, we will blast this out on social media and through flyers and message boards, which will start going out tomorrow if approved. These areas in blue represent areas that will get flyer distribution tomorrow. It's about 350 homes in total. Our sequence of events, so again, we'll start notifying the community tomorrow if approved. On the 22nd, we'll start with the enforcement of the no parking zone. So our intent is, of course, not to tow. We'll do door knocks and do everything we can to help those residents move and be extra vigilant with people who may park on there as we do our flyer distribution. At 10 o'clock, we'll have all of our responders out at the event, receiving their briefing and safeties for it. At 10:30, we will close down these roads. The band will be available to start practicing at noon as requested in their permit. And then at 3 o'clock, we'll be available to start tearing down. Worst case scenario, we anticipate by 5 o'clock, we'll have those road barricades up and everything will be back to normal. We do have participating agencies for this. La Mirada Public Safety has generously given an officer to participate in this, as has Norwalk La Mirada School Safety. We also have the booster clubs, as well as all of our first responders, volunteers. They'll actually be doing the flyer distribution for this tomorrow. We have received donations to help offset the cost of this. The Norwalk La Mirada Unified School District approved $25,000 at their last meeting. Nationwide Services has donated $1,000, and we've received a verbal commitment from County Supervisor Jonas Hahn's office for an additional $10,000. Our anticipated cost for staffing this event is $27,866. These numbers represent the top of the scale. We assume a worst case scenario, overages, overtime, all that as we come and bring these to you. As you can see, the Sheriff's Department and Public Safety, they've run you out to about 17 public services for traffic signals, their staff for setup and tear down. Other staff may include recreation, it needs to be available at the park that day, and then equipment rental. We are going to have porta potties, things of that nature out there as well. So these are all the required items to perform a bare bones event. We now refer the matter to you for discussion and consideration. I have with me this evening Mr. Frank Hinahose. He's representing the band this evening. If you have any direct questions for them, thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Before we go to questions, we do have a few speaker cards. Is that okay if we do those first? Okay, the first card is for Rudy Miranda. Rudy, you can come forward. You do have 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening, council members, city staff, Norwalk City residents. We hope that the parade is approved so we can focus on celebrating the students. I would like to thank and acknowledge Mrs. Rios, Mrs. Valencia, Supervisor Janice Hahn, and the Norwalk La Mirada Unified School District Board for their support. I would also like to thank all the donors who supported through Mr. Rosewood fundraiser, GoFundMe, in the name of Save the 605 All-Star Band Norwalk Parade. With their support, advice, and willingness to listen to parents, Norwalk will be able to showcase the 605 All-Star Band students' talents and hard work in a preview to the 2025 Tournament of Roses Parade. I invite all Norwalk residents to come out and show your support on December 22nd. Bring a camping chair and bring the whole family. Semper Fi.
Thank you, Rudy. Next, we have Dr. Robert Concio.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Perez, Council Members Rios and Valencia. Here representing Norwalk La Mirada and also as a resident of Norwalk. So we heard your last meeting, and although we didn't appreciate some of the comments that were discussed about the school board, I do want to highlight the city manager Jesus's earlier comment about it's our students, our community, and also the video, 66% of it is our schools. And I think this is a great way for us to show that camaraderie between the city and the school board. So we did take the initiative of supporting the 605 band and passed a resolution with VAPA funds to spend up to $25,000. And then I'd like to thank Councilmember Rios in discussions with her on hopefully buttressing this with the city council. Her and I were having volleyball discussions with Supervisor Hahn, so I really appreciate that. Thank you so much to come up with the additional $10,000. So for us, really, the puck is on your turf now. Hopefully, it should be an easy decision. But when it comes to matters like this, especially as it reflects our students in our community, we look for partnership. We look to split the bill, split the responsibility, because we mutually benefit from these types of initiatives, as you've seen in the videos and discussions with Jesus. So again, thank you so much for the opportunity. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas to you all, and looking forward to seeing our 605 band march down Norwalk streets. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, Teresa, that you received? Thank you. All right, bringing it back to council. Councilmember Valencia.
Thank you. It's truly been a collective effort to to make this dream happen for our students. And it's pretty clear to me that the money has already been raised. We were able to go down a little. Lots of people are contributing, and that just brings joy to my heart and just such pride for our students. So I'm really happy that that the funding is there and that we're going to do this for our kids. Thank you.
Margarita?
Thank you. Richard, can I see the, I know you gave a dollar amount there, and I know there was, the report included two different dollar amounts. I believe I saw one for 26 and this one on the screen is 27. Do you have the other, you didn't show the breakdown, the line items?
Yes, ma'am. I'm afraid I'm not aware where the breakdown is. I'd be happy to research that and get that to you. I apologize. But as far as I'm aware, or I should
Does
say,
somebody-
this is
does
the correct
staff
number
have
on
it?
screen. I believe, actually, I know exactly where it is. The breakdown you have in your staff report doesn't include the equipment rental. This breakdown does include that.
Can I see the breakdown?
Yeah, absolutely. It's in your staff report. We don't have a slide for that, ma'am.
Wait,
I
I'd like
have-
to see it.
I have it on page 2
It's on page 2
of the staff report.
Okay. Let me get to it. Give me a second here.
The number that I have in the staff report matches the number that's on the screen, to include the equipment rental as well.
Okay. The one okay, let me see. So that's why I needed some clarification here because attachment 2 shows 26,866.
I think, Margarita, I think that's just the staff.
Huh?
That item that you pulled up is just for staff hours. It doesn't include the equipment rental.
I don't know. It has public safety, LASD, public services, and other staff for 15. So are you saying, Richard, that this slide here includes an added $1,000 for the equipment rental from the original report that was submitted to us?
Yes, ma'am. So $27,000 is reflected on your initial staff report. The breakdown, the attachment, only includes the staff. So the total number requested is the $27,000 number.
Okay. And the reason I mean, I don't want to get nitpicky about dollars and cents, but it is pretty significant here because, the district did allocate, up to 25 grand. And I'm super thrilled that they're having their parade because, I mean, this is our community of students and schools. And so that we are, supporting them, I think is just, that's like a no-brainer. We definitely want to do that. But what I would have liked to have seen is on our part, as far as a council and a city, to be able to offer, okay, what are we willing to pitch in with, contribute with? And, that's why earlier we were talking about an event, a food distribution event, which I'm not saying any one is less important than the other. It's about our community, number one, absolutely. It's all great. But the last time we were here, we had a lot of questions about this event. And so I would have anticipated that staff would have, if they're going to propose an event in the future, that we have all the information, including cost, so that, we have the information that we need in order to make informed decisions. And so when we're looking at the cost, again, because it is important because the district said up to, okay? And although I've been talking to Supervisor Hahn's office, it was a verbal, so I'm sure it'll go through. But again, it was a verbal commitment that her representative made to me. Okay, I'm going to hold them to it, right? But if we can, really be diligent about, okay, how do we really look at this so that we try to incur a minimal cost, so that there's a minimal impact to the district as well, because as Dr. Cancio mentioned, that's their VAPA funds. Those are funds for the students and their visual and performing arts, which this is in line with that. But as we talked the last time, what do we take from to give to? And so when we look at, well, we don't want to necessarily take too much of what we have to, but we can maybe agree how we can kind of mitigate a little bit of the impact here, mitigate a little bit of the impact here, and agree to, you know, pitch in somehow and help. So I'm wondering, because the breakdown doesn't list any of the items, for example, like CHP and our Metro PD partners, they've comped their services to us in the past, right?
That's correct, ma'am. And we did reach
Okay.
out to them, but they're not participating in this event.
They said no?
Correct.
Okay. So, all right. And it looks like staff is, you know, compared to where we were last time, staff has done a good job at bringing us additional information, which was what was asked for. So thank you for that. But again, I go back to my question of what can we consider pitching in? I mean, what is it that we can help with so that we show, you know, our support through our general funds or whatever? I mean, again, those are community funds. This is a community for the community event. Good money going right back out into the community, you know. So, Jesus, did the team think about that as far as a possibility if we could pitch in, you know, as a show of good gesture and collaboration and support for our community, and a dollar amount that is feasible?
We had direction from the council to fundraise. So we could, you know, provide some ideas, but the goal was to be able to fundraise, to be able to.
Well, we
provide
fundraise and they fundraise.
Correct.
But the council asked for a dollar amount and line item, and they asked for the board to come and do their part. But I don't know that we ever said, no, we're not going to give them any money, any dollar amount. I mean, colleagues, correct me, please. So
I
that we can just
remember
put this
that
one
there
to
was an
rest.
amount and we were going to go with it, but well, I don't know if that was the case, but that was the cost. But the council member, the majority of the council stated that they that was too much money, that it was
Yes.
not
The
it was not
50
feasible, and that we should look at fundraising. That was the discussion. Yes. Yeah.
And I think maybe just to bring it back, and I appreciate the time and dedication. A lot of time has gone into rerouting this a couple times with staff, and I'm very appreciative that this route now seems to be the less of impact to the residents and actually be able to provide more space. So a lot of time and energy from our team has gone into it.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
What I would also like to maybe this might help or kind of think about where you're going. Open the door. Let's not just talk about this year. Is there an opportunity for this amazing band to continue and participate in the size that it is? And if that is the case, then I would suggest after the grand rose parade that you guys are anticipating, set a time and meeting with staff, and let's look at the budget for continuing to add to keep this band going throughout the years. And that way we can look at our general fund, we can look at what is budgeted and allocated and look to continue it from year over year. And look at doing something that we can to that matter, instead of just thinking it's going to end come the end of the rose parade, and look to see what we can do for the future.
Right. And the other comment, Councilmember Rios, that I will add is that the original cost was $50,000. We were able to help them, reduce that to, I'm going to say 28,000. So we, in working with the organization, we were able to reduce it as well. The cost from 50,000 to the 28,000.
So I know there was a mention of with the other event that was presented that we already had personnel on duty that would be servicing that event. Wouldn't we have something similar for this event? Personnel on duty?
Right.
Ozzy? Because I mean, it is a big, public safety is a big one here.
Right. So these would be permanently stationed, those all the entire hours. The public safety officers would not have to be specifically stationed for the traffic control, because we're not closing any streets for the food distribution.
Mm-hmm. Can we come up with any amount, Jesus, that we can pitch in for this worthwhile effort?
I'll give $1,000 for my discretionary fund.
I'll give 1,600.
Another 1,000 from mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'd like to move this item.
Second.
Can we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Rios,
Aye.
Valencia,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Perez.
Aye. All right. Moving on to oral communications. Teresa, do we have any additional cards?
Nothing beyond what I gave you.
We did get one. Maria Miranda, did you still want to speak? Our public comment was closed for that item at the time. So did you still want to come up and speak? Thank you.
Good evening. So I'm the parent that has been trying to help fundraise. I came to the board meeting and I talked to everybody here. It did get a little fiery. The gauntlet was thrown down for the board. We did talk to them, and then they have come forward and they really did come through for the band. So the route that we have that you guys approved is not a parade route. That was not the route that was submitted. The route that was submitted was from John Glenn to Norwalk High School. That is a parade. That was like almost 3 miles. It was settled down to this small, tiny route. So for that to have still been presented as $50,000 with no line items like you suggested, I completely agree. That should have been disclosed way ahead of time. Now, when we come here and the council was saying we need to fundraise and we need to discuss it later, to my understanding, that doesn't mean that had no financial responsibility for the council whatsoever. I have been hitting the ground hard. I have gone to everybody that I could go to help fundraise. Sitting in the audience, we just got another $2,000. So is there really not any money from the city council? This is going to look good on you as well. This is going to be in your videos. This is a once in a lifetime. This is not a every year these band directors are going to get almost 600 kids together. This is probably not going to happen again. And the only reason this is happening is because Tom Phillips is retiring and this is his last hurrah. So I don't understand. That's not what I understood from coming and speaking. That's not what I understood from hitting the ground running and trying to find finances, was for you guys to have to use your personal discretionary fund, just like it shouldn't be all the school board's money as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional comments, Teresa? All right, seeing that, this meeting is adjourned.